be in jeopardy. You know, you have to put them in jeopardy.
Stakes are high.
And for me, this episode, from a Batman perspective, was he's the ultimate outsider. He always is the outsider. He's the embodiment of the other, you know? And that's why I think so many people relate to him so well. And in this, it's all about his being an outsider. He's so aware of his outsider identity that he feels a responsibility to be able to neutralize the Justice League. And then he almost destroys them.
Got time for one last question.
This guy.
Get everybody down front.
All right,
This
now,
guy.
There's a fellow back there in a Batman sweatshirt. Yeah. You dressed the part, kind of. I don't see any other Batman.
Please. This guy.
No, leave back there.
My name is Aitan.
Make it good.
Yes.
No pressure.
Do you guys have a favorite moment of all the DC movies that you have done? You know, as per character, so you know, Batman and you know, characters that you have played.
For me, it's the Justice League episode where I'm on this planet alone and Superman comes and I really, Vandal, I'm talking about film. I'm Jackie, sister, my daughter, The actors lament. And it's just this wonderful kind of madness that Vandal kind of goes through because he wants to die. He's done. He's lived long enough. And he is really an ally of Superman's, and he wants Superman to kill him, which is the last thing that Superman could ever do. But it ultimately happens, and he's thankful. And at the end of it, he calls Superman my friend. That almost took me out at the session. And that's my favorite moment, to see an immortal so at the end of his run that he wants to end it. That's compelling. Big moment for me.
I've been so lucky. I've had so many. Wonderful shows. I mean, For Chance to Dream has always been a favorite of mine. I think it's a beautiful story. It's beautifully acted. No, I'm kidding. No, it's there are so many.
Too many.
For Chance to Dream, where Batman is drugged and he's. I did the voices of Bruce Wayne, Batman, and then young Bruce Wayne as an adolescent, and then old Bruce Wayne Sr. So he's having these dialogues with himself as he's drugged, and with his father, and it's this internal struggle that's going on, and all the voices had to be distinct but believably related, and we recorded it in real time. So I was having arguments with myself. It was a blast.
It was a Mad Hatter story, right?
It was a Mad Hatter story.
Yeah. So it was Roddy McDowell, the wonderful Roddy McDowell.
Roddy McDowell was in it. It was a really interesting story. But no, I've been so lucky that there's so many good ones.
I couldn't pick one. Okay, there's too many. What, do you have one? What, you're smiling so
Because I
much.
went through 1,000 of them in my head while you guys were talking, but there's a scene in Wonder Woman, the film, which I think is still, that's a phenomenal put
It's a
together.
good movie.
I've seen these movies at least 40 times a piece when I'm going through it before we release them, because I got to pick out all the scenes and all the stills, but there's just this one moment when Ares forces are attacking and the Amazons are going on, and Washington, D.C. is getting destroyed, and one of the Ares forces pulls down the head of Abraham Lincoln at the Lincoln Memorial. And Steve Trevor, Nathan Finley, just turns and goes, "Hey, nobody messes with Lincoln." If I can laugh at it every time. All right. Well,
He had a really
Really good one.
Okay,
Okay. My name's Whit.
have that mic. Okay. My name is Whit, and just wanted to say I love all of your work. I've been watching you guys since I was like 6. So, but my question is, not to make, but I was just wondering, in your process of finding your characters and doing the voices, what kind of research do you guys do as far as like you look into the comics and what goes into finding your voice?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Everyone's got different stories.
There's a lot to process, and a lot of it's really personal. For me, being a lifelong comic book fan, I've been doing research on this since I was 6.
Yeah.
So that you come to the party with a lot of information, and for actors, knowledge is power. So if you know who you are and where you want to go, what is going to take you there, then that gets you there. With Vandal, I listened to a lot of classical music, quite frankly, because I thought that was what he had running in his head. Wagner and Beethoven, he probably knew them. He might have been, he probably, what was Ride of the Valkyries about? Maybe Vandal, I don't know. But that's what I gave Vandal. So just in that one little character, that's kind of how I started to get to where I felt he lived. We all have the soundtrack in our head. Everybody has their own theme music. What I mean? Some of it's funk, some of it's soul, some of it's R&B, some of it's classical. For Vandal Savage, classical music was right up my alley. So.
I think for every actor, it's a different thing, and for each character, it's a different thing. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of humbling because working with Phil and working with Mark Hamill, working with people who have incredible library of animation and comic books and stuff, and a knowledge of it, I didn't have any of that. I really didn't grow up with comic books. And so when I went into the audition, I was really pretty naive. And remember, you were describing to me the Batman story. And I said, well, I remember the 70s show with Adam West. So they were describing to me the Dark Knight legend and everything. And his parents have been killed and he's living to avenge their deaths. And he's got 2 identities. And I said, well, you're describing the Hamlet story in a way. Because I came from the New York Shakespeare Festival. I came from Juilliard. I mean, everyone comes from what their training is. And for me, it was a real theater background. And I just put myself into the head of, just made a choice in the booth. And it just was this sound that came out. It just put me in this very dark place. And it was just...
It was brilliant.
It was
Brilliant.
Clearly.
It's also luck. It's a lot of luck. But it's what Phil was saying about you are the culmination of all of your experiences with actors. We are. You are your instrument. You are the culmination of all your life experiences. And all actors do is take that and make it a craft. Take what you are and make it a craft.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get in that situation where you're dealing with a character, you're drawing on everything you've ever been on in your life. When you're in training, they call it sense memory. You're drawing on all those senses and using them to focus in and make choices for the character.
I once again want to thank all of you for coming. I want to thank the Paley Center. Give them a hand. Before I say the names, I'll make you really applause. Justice League Doom, February 28th. The bearded gentleman, the guy in the Batman sweatshirt, and Whit.